Hey everyone, REDyTay here, ready to kick off another Pokemon challenge. My last run with Pineco and Pokemon Gold might have been a bit of a letdown since we couldn't ultimately beat Red, but we did technically secure a win in the end. This time we got another tough challenge with a bug type, but I believe we can actually win it. We're going to see if we can beat Pokemon LeafGreen with a single Butterfree. That's right, we're using a fully evolved Pokemon this time. The main reason is because, as we already know, you can't beat Pokemon LeafGreen with just a Caterpie. Thanks for the heads up, J-Rose. Plus, even though Butterfree is fully evolved, it's far from overpowered. Its stats are better than the starter Pokemon's, but its total doesn't even break 400. Its physical attack and defense are pretty concerning due to how low they are, but I feel a bit more confident knowing that its special stats are much higher. Speed isn't too shabby, though I wish our HP was better. I'm thankful for the higher special stat because most of Butterfree's weaknesses are special based. Being bug flying gives us a handy ground immunity, but since most ground types are also part rock in this game, that immunity might not be as useful as it sounds. The 4-time weakness to rock moves is definitely a major threat at certain points, but I think we'll have a way to handle that later on. I'm not thrilled about the weaknesses to Fire, Electric, and Ice either, but we've dealt with worse matchups in the past. As for the moveset, I was hoping for a bit more variety in this Generation 3 remake. Silver Wind could be useful, but overall the move pool isn't much different than Generation 1. However, the TM options are looking more promising. Butterfree can learn some key moves that I think will really help us out, and having access to things like Shadow Ball and Aerial Ace is definitely appealing. Alright, enough of the long intro, let's dive in. I'm only using Butterfree for the entire run. Other Pokemon will be allowed solely for HM use to help with navigating. No cheats, hacks, or glitches will be used, and I'll be sticking to the rule of not using items in battle, except for held items given to Butterfree beforehand. I think we can win this, but we'll likely need to reach a pretty high level to do it. Hopefully not level 100 though. Let's get started and see how far we can go. So here we go again, starting our journey by getting stopped by Professor Oak and choosing our Pokemon. I used the Pokemon randomizer to replace Bulbasaur with Caterpie. Yep, I decided to start with Caterpie. I thought it'd be too easy if we started with Butterfree right away, so we're beginning with its first form and training it up to full evolution. Caterpie's stats at this point aren't really important since they'll change once it evolves. I nicknamed our future Butterfree Keyfly. Couldn't really think of anything else, so I went with a suggestion from my mom. Now on to the actual work in this challenge, our first rival battle. There's not much to say, we just spam tackle and we barely scrape by with 1 HP left. Yep, even against basic AI, Caterpie is not great, but from here we can finally grind against wild Pokemon to level up. By the time we reach the Viridian Forest, Keyfly has already evolved into a Metapod, but we lose to the first bug catcher there. Also, what are the odds that Metapod's Shed Skin ability cures poison 4 turns in a row? We weren't at full health, so maybe if we had been, we could have won that battle. On the rematch, after healing up, we managed to win, only to lose the next battle against another bug catcher. Eventually, after healing before every major fight, we finally get a Butterfree. Stat-wise, things are looking much better. Compound Eyes is great for accuracy, but I'll miss Shed Skin's status healing. The big win from this evolution though is that we now have Confusion. But with that, we absolutely demolish our rival in the first battle against them post-evolution. Both of their Pokemon could have been a problem due to their types, but Confusion makes this an easy, no damage win. It helps that we have a slight level lead at this point, and it also doesn't hurt that Charmander got confused and hit itself 2 turns in a row. After all the lackluster attacking we did as Caterpie and Metapod, this was a welcome change. Now we've completed everything we need to do leading up to the first gym battle. In the first generation games, Butterfree with Confusion would absolutely decimate Brock's team due to their terrible special stats. The problem in this generation is that Brock's team actually has rock-type moves, unlike in Generation 1. But as long as we're faster, I'm sure we can win this battle. So, Confusion doesn't hit as hard as I thought it would. It takes 3 Confusions to take out Geodude, and I can't even tell you how many it would take for Onix considering we get knocked out easily by Rock Tomb. At least when Brock uses Tackle, it barely does anything to us. But there's no getting around Rock Tomb at this level, so we need to grind some more. I decided to grind in the patches of grass north of the Viridian Forest, aiming to get Keyfly to level 15 and see how we fare then. By the time we reach level 15, we still only have 1 attacking move Confusion. The rest of our move slots are now filled with status moves, Poison Powder, Stun Spore, and Sleep Powder. I'm not sure how long we'll be keeping these moves, but for now Confusion is all we need, and Sleep Powder is crucial for the Brock fight. My strategy was to start with Sleep Powder, and it worked initially, but Onix woke up after just one turn and knocked us out again with Rock Tomb. Looks like we need better sleep luck. On the second attempt, we take down Geodude with 2 confusions. Back to Sleep Powder for Onix, and it lands again, but the question is, how long will it stay asleep? This time long enough for me to use Confusion 3 times and knock it out. There we go, better sleep luck made this battle an easy win. You know what else is easy? Getting through Mount Moon with Confusion. Sure, it's not the strongest sidekick move, but this early in the game, it hits hard enough to be a real threat to our opponents. We breezed through Cerulean City, and I decided it might be better to challenge Misty first, instead of facing our rival. The first attempt against Misty does not go well. Confusion isn't hitting hard, and while Water Pulse does less damage, getting confused by it can really slow us down. Misty healing Staryu just drags things out, and Geefly takes more hits than we'd like. In the end, we managed to take out Staryu, but we're nowhere near strong enough to handle Starmie. Looks like we'll need to rely on status conditions to win this battle at our current level. In the rematch, I start with Sleep Powder on Staryu, then spam Confusion while it's asleep. Our Confusion damage output is the same, so Misty heals Staryu, but it's still asleep. We can easily knock it out and stay at full health. This is a much better start. Starmie hits us with a Water Pulse right away, but we land another Sleep Powder, putting it to sleep like we did with Staryu. Starmie's Psychic resistance is painfully obvious though. Confusion is barely doing anything. When Starmie wakes up and hits us again with Water Pulse, it knocks us down to yellow health. Thankfully, we confuse it with our next Confusion, and it hurts itself in the following turn. At this point, I switch tactics and use Poison Powder. Sure, it would be nice to keep Starmie from attacking us, but we need more help with dealing damage. This plan works perfectly. Starmie gets hit by a combination of poison, confusion damage, and confusion spamming, and things fall into place for Starmie to go down. That worked out really well. Hopefully we get the same efficiency against our rival. Starting with Pidgeotto, confusion doesn't even bring it to half health, but it does cause confusion. After hurting itself on the next turn, Pidgeotto's health drops into the yellow, and it does go down the following turn. Next up is our rival's biggest threat, Charmander. To play it safe, I put it to sleep and spam Confusion until it's knocked out. Abra's next, and while it can't hurt us, Confusion doesn't do much either. I thought I had a smart idea to save on Confusion power points by using Poison Powder instead, but I forgot that Abra has the ability Synchronize, which means Geefly gets poisoned in return. Hopefully that won't come back to bite us. I switched to using Confusion, and since Abra can't fight back, we're fine for now. Now we just need to take down REDyTay before the poison finishes us off. Luckily, Confusion remains reliable and we easily win the battle from here. With that done, we take care of the other trainers as we make our way to Bill, which means it's time for the SS Anne, and another rival battle. We've gained 9 levels since our last fight, so we're stronger this time around, and right off the bat we get a lucky critical hit with Confusion to one-shot Pidgeotto. Charmeleon comes out next, and we stick with our tried and true strategy, Sleep Powder and Confusion spam. It works perfectly again, taking Charmeleon down. Raticate suffers the same fate as Pidgeotto, going down in a one-shot from another critical hit Confusion. That just leaves Kadabra. One of the best things that happened since our last rival battle is that Geefly learned Gust. Now we have an attack that Kadabra can't resist, and sure enough, it's a one-shot. Now let's see how we handle the next gym, where we'll face Pokemon with super effective moves against us. Let's jump right into our battle with Lieutenant Surge. While electric moves could easily wreck us at this gym, we got some strong moves at our disposal too. We start by putting Voltorb to sleep and take it down with 2 confusions. Then, a nice surprise, Geefly replaces Confusion with Psybeam. I completely forgot that move was on the lineup. Back to the battle, and Psybeam makes short work of Pikachu. When Raichu comes out, I try to play it safe by putting it to sleep, but the first Sleep Powder misses. Raichu then uses Double Team, messing with our accuracy even more. Fortunately, the next Sleep Powder lands, but Lieutenant Surge immediately uses Full Heal to wake Raichu up. Psybeam doesn't quite bring Raichu to half health, so I go for another Sleep Powder, which thankfully hits again. This brings Raichu to low red health, but Lieutenant Surge heals it right back up. We stick with Psybeam, and while it's working well, Raichu eventually wakes up and uses another Double Team, causing our next Poison Powder to miss. Don't worry though, status conditions are still on the table. Raichu paralyzes us with Thunder Wave and finally lands its first hit with Shockwave. Luckily, we're still in the green after that, and we get really fortunate when Poison Powder connects. From here, Raichu keeps using Shockwave, and one more Psybeam seals the win for us. That battle had the potential to get messy near the end, but for a gym focused on one of our biggest weaknesses, I think it went surprisingly well. Next up, we breeze through Rock Tunnel thanks to Psybeam handling most of the Pokemon, and Gust really easily sweeps the rest. It's great having a solid move to use against the Hiker's rock types. We make to Lavender Town quickly, which means it's time for another rival battle. Psybeam is fantastic against Pidgeotto, and even though we're weak to Gust, it's not hitting us too hard. Pidgeotto goes down in the next turn. Charmeleon is up next, and we stick to our usual strategy, Sleep Powder, then Psybeam. Charmeleon doesn't last long either. Execute falls to 2 Gusts, and Kadabra gets knocked out with just 1. Finally, Gyarados steps in. Psybeam isn't hitting hard here, though it does manage to confuse Gyarados. Unfortunately, that doesn't help much, since Gyarados just keeps attacking with Thrash. We stick with Psybeam, and Gyarados eventually goes down, but I can really tell he might be a bigger problem later on. Now we're focusing on getting our next gym badge, and this one is from Erica, the Grass-type gym leader. This should be the easiest gym battle of the entire challenge. Honestly, I'll be floored if it's not a first try victory. So, we won, but the game tried really hard to make this a close call. I assumed Gust would be our best move since it has Stab, but surprisingly Victory Bell is still standing in the yellow, even though we're 11 levels higher. Looks like Psybeam is the better option after all. Unfortunately, Victory Bell paralyzes us with Stun Spore, and that's where troubles begin. We're slower now and take a critical hit from Acid. We manage to knock out Victory Bell with Psybeam, but things don't get easier when Tangela comes out. Since Tangela is pure grass type, Psybeam won't be super effective, so I stick with Gust, and it's doing well, until Paralysis stops us from attacking for 4 turns in a row. During that time, we aren't taking much damage, but Tangela heals itself with Ingrain and Giga Drain, bringing it back into the green. On the 5th turn, we finally get a Gust to take Tangela down. Next up is Vileplume. We're still paralyzed, and Vileplume lands another critical hit Acid. Thankfully, Psybeam deals a solid blow when it connects. I should have anticipated Erica using a Hyper Potion, but at least we're able to follow up with a Gust and then another Psybeam to win the battle. That was way more drawn out than I expected. Giovanni should be tougher, but it should also be manageable. Getting to him was a breeze. We start off strong with Psybeam, nearly one-shotting Onix, which only responds with Bind, allowing us to take it out easily. Rhyhorn survives with just a sliver of health, but only used Tail Whip before going down. When Kangaskhan comes out, I decide to use Poison Powder to chip away at its health, then go back to spamming Psybeam. The poison may have been overkill since it doesn't take many Psybeams to finish the job. So yeah, we won, and surprisingly, beating Giovanni was easier than beating Erica, which is kinda weird. Now that we've got the Sylph Scope, we can finally clear out Pokemon Tower. Although Psybeam is super effective against the Ghost types here, their defenses are so weak that we can easily one-shot them all with Gust. After saving Mr. Fuji and receiving the Poke Flute, I head straight down the bike route to Fuchsia City to challenge Koga. This battle could go either way. While we're weak to poison, Psybeam has the potential to take out most of his team. Let's see how it goes. As expected, Psybeam one-shots Coughing, but it's not as effective against Muck. We almost take it down, but then Muck poisons us with Toxic, which makes things tricky. After Koga heals Muck back to full health with a Hyper Potion, things get even harder and we eventually go down. I'm not giving up though. Maybe Sleep Powder can save us this time? Coughing is an easy one-shot once again, but we open with Sleep Powder against Muck, and it works. While Muck sleeps, we spam Psybeam and get it down to red health before it wakes up and hits us with a weak Sludge. Koga heals Muck again, but we manage to put it back to sleep and continue chipping away with Psybeam. Finally, on the 3rd round of attacks, Muck faints. Another Coughing goes down quickly, and now it's Weezing's turn. I'm hoping to avoid getting poisoned or hit by self-destruct. Oh, and I replaced Gust with Silverwind. I'm kind of regretting it since I haven't found it that useful yet, but we'll see if it proves its worth. Anyway, we put Weezing to sleep and we keep the Psybeam barrage going. Koga annoyingly uses a full heal, but we've managed to land another Psybeam and take Weezing down. That battle went much smoother than expected. Next up, we're making our way through Silphco. Not much to say about the Team Rocket grunts, they mostly have poison types and Psybeam makes quick work of them. I got a little lost trying to find the rival battle, but everything's going smoothly so far. First up is Pidgeot. I used Sleep Powder and followed up with Psybeam, and it goes down easily enough. But then our rival sends out Charizard. I try the same strategy, but Charizard is faster and hits us with Smokescreen, lowering our accuracy. Sleep Powder misses, and another Smokescreen makes things worse. While we struggle to land an attack, Charizard is hitting us hard with Flamethrower. Leftovers help us recover a bit, but it's not enough to survive. Eventually, we go down from a wing attack. Okay, let's give this another go. Yeah, this battle went the same way. We don't have a plan for Charizard at this level. The third attempt starts off a little rough, but it actually goes much better than the previous two. We of course stick with putting Pidgeot to sleep with Sleep Powder and attacking with Psybeam. There's just one little problem this time. Pidgeot wakes up early and hits us with Feather Dance, lowering our physical attack. This is not ideal for the parts of the battle that are coming up. We put Pidgeot back to sleep soon after and take it down from there. Back at it with Charizard, and we're not changing our strategy. Of course, it's faster, hits us with a Flamethrower, and leaves us with 26 health. So we're already in trouble, but Sleep Powder does land. Leftovers are useful, healing about 8 HP per turn. We get Charizard to low red health, and we confuse it. It's still asleep, so things are looking pretty good. But then Charizard wakes up. Fortunately, it's still confused and it hurts itself. One more Psybeam from us knocks it out. Now it's our first time seeing Execute in this battle. I'm thinking Silverwind should be strong enough to take it out, but I forgot we were hit by Feather Dance earlier, and Bug-type moves are physical, so we fall short of one-shotting Execute. This gives it the chance to hit us with Stun Spore. Leftovers healed us back to green health, but now we're down to yellow after that hit. Luckily, we aren't paralyzed on next turn, and Silverwind finishes Execute off. We're in a tight spot with lowered attack, paralysis, and sitting at yellow health. Next up is Alakazam, and even though we're about 15 levels higher than it, it's still faster than us. It uses Calm Mind, but we don't care about special defense because Silverwind is a physical move. That said, we still have a lowered attack stat, so it's not a one-shot. If that Feather Dance hadn't happened, Execute and Alakazam would have been easy one-shots, and we probably would not be paralyzed right now. Alakazam sets up a Future Sight, but we managed to knock it out with another Silverwind. Now all that's left is Gyarados, and yep, and our attack is lowered still. Psybeam is our only real option here since it's a special move. The bad news is that paralysis is starting to stack up. On top of that, we're sitting at exactly 80 health, which means Dragon Rage drops us to 40. Fortunately, we put Gyarados to sleep, so we might have a chance to heal up and get some attacks in while it's unconscious. Oh wait, Future Sight. I completely forgot about that. With that hit, we're down to 3 HP. Things are looking really close now. If Gyarados stays asleep, we can get some attacks in and also heal a bit. Or not, since paralysis takes effect again. Okay, we managed to land a couple Psybeams and Gyarados is now in yellow health. Also, we have healed up some, but then it wakes up and takes us out with Dragon Rage. Clearly, level 48 is not going to cut it. Even after a few more attempts, the outcome is the same, with Charizard being the brick wall. So I think we need to grind some more. After some grinding, we attempt this battle again at level 50. But before that, let's take a look at Geefly's stats at level 50. I know it's only 2 levels higher, but that does mean some nice stat boost. Our attack stat might be a bit concerning, but since we only have one physical attacking move, and it is technically stab, it's not a huge issue. Plus, we've mostly relied on Psychic moves for this whole challenge, so our attack stat hasn't been too critical. The defense stat, however, could be better, especially since we've been taking a lot of physical hits. Still, our special attack is fantastic at 102, it's the only stat in triple digits, so I'll take it. Special defense could be improved, but it's decent enough, and our speed, while not the best, is manageable at 85. It could definitely be worse. Trust me. As for the moveset, we're still rolling with Psybeam and Silverwind. I'm not a fan of only having these 2 attacking moves, but I'm also not keen on searching for new TMs just yet. I think we can pull off a win. That said, I'm debating which status powder to drop for a new move. It might be Poison Powder since I like the stalling potential with Sleep Powder while Leftovers heals us, but I haven't made that final decision yet. Anyway, back at our attempt at beating our rival at level 50. We're still faster than Pidgeot, which means we can put it to sleep quickly without it attacking us. What I'm really hoping for from those 2 extra levels is just enough power for Psychic to give us the extra oomph needed to take down our opponents. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, I went ahead and got the TM for Psychic to replace Psybeam, since it is a stronger move with the added bonus of lowering the opponent's special defense. I also used a power point up because Psychic only has 10 power points by default, and we could easily run out of this move in a drawn out fight. Psychic performs well against Pidgeot while it's asleep. It wakes up and hits us with a wing attack, and that's not ideal, but we're still in green health. A second Psychic finishes Pidgeot off. Now it's time to see if those 2 extra levels are enough to handle Charizard. The good news is we're now faster than Charizard, so we can put it to sleep before it gets a chance to use Flamethrower. Given our current health, Flamethrower would likely take us out, so this is a huge relief. The bad news is Psychic isn't doing much better than Psybeam. It looks like it's going to be a 3-turn KO. We really need some luck to keep Charizard asleep while we finish it off. Thankfully, we get a special defense drop, and on the 3rd Psychic, Charizard goes down. Next up is Execute. Without having been hit by a Feather Dance, our attack stat is intact, and Silver Wind one-shots Execute, thanks in part to our 2 extra levels. The same holds true for Alakazam. Silver Wind knocks it out, and we're at full health with no status conditions, ready to face Gyarados. We put Gyarados to sleep with Sleep Powder and start spamming Psychic. Luckily, Gyarados never wakes up, and we manage to take it down without it having a chance to attack us. Finally, we've progressed past the rival battle at Silphco, and now we have a battle with Giovanni coming up. Giovanni starts with Nidorino, which we easily one-shot with Psychic. Next is Rhyhorn, and although Psychic isn't super effective, it still does a lot of damage. Unfortunately, Rhyhorn survives with just a sliver of health and retaliates with Rock Blast. We get lucky, it only hits twice. Any more of that move and we would have fainted easily. Since we only need a bit more damage to finish Rhyhorn, we use Silver Wind to save Psychic power points, and as a bonus, we get an all-around stat boost from it. Now we need to heal up, and I'm hoping we can manage some of that against Kangaskhan. I considered using Sleep Powder, but decided to see how well Psychic would do. It hits hard, but it's not a one-shot. Kangaskhan's Mega Punch leaves us at 28 health, but a second Psychic finishes it off. Last up is Nidoqueen, which is part poison, so Psychic is still the best move. We almost take it out, but it clings to life with a sliver of health. Thankfully, it only uses Tail Whip, which lowers our defense, but we followed up with one more Psychic for the win. That wasn't surprising. Giovanni's fight here is usually on the easier side. Since we're in Saffron City, we should probably face Sabrina. With Silver Wind in our arsenal, her Psychic types don't really stand a chance. It's great that this generation gave us actual bug moves to keep Psychic types in check. Silver Wind works wonders against her team. I did switch to Psychic for Venomoth, but the rest of her Pokemon can't handle Silver Wind. They did lower Geefly's health more than I expected, but it was still a pretty easy battle. It's nice to have an easy gym battle, especially since our next one is likely to be more challenging. I'm talking about Blaine. Normally he isn't an issue, but he is technically the Fire-type gym leader. We'll have to see how the AI handles this matchup. Even though we have a weakness to fire, I think we could still pull off the win thanks to Psychic. Let's see how it goes. First up is Growlithe, and its Intimidate ability doesn't affect us since we are going to be relying on Psychic in this battle. To play it safe, we put Growlithe to sleep and then switch to Psychic. It nearly one-shots, but Growlithe survives with a sliver of health, and to conserve on Psychic power points, I use Silver Wind to finish it off. I know it's a weak move here, but we only need to do a little bit of damage. However, Growlithe is healed by Hyper Potion, and surprisingly, Silver Wind does a bit more damage than I was expecting, but it's still not enough. Regardless, another Psychic knocks Growlithe out. Despite being known for its speed, we're actually faster than Ponyta. We put it to sleep and switch to Psychic, which brings Ponyta down to yellow health. I made the mistake of using Silver Wind again to save on power points, but it doesn't hit hard enough for a knockout. This leads to Ponyta waking up and hitting us with a Fire Blast. That could have been really dangerous, but we're still in the green with 78 health. We continue with Silver Wind, but it doesn't matter since Blaine uses a Hyper Potion. It's interesting to see Blaine's AI perform better in this generation. I always feel like he makes poor decisions no matter which version you play. I was hoping Psychic would hit hard enough for a knockout, but it falls short, and we get hit by another Fire Blast. Yikes. We're down to 20 health, which puts us in a very precarious situation, especially considering we still have to deal with Rapidash and Arcanine. To my surprise, we are faster than Rapidash, which is unexpected since we're only 10 levels higher. We put to sleep, hoping to get some healing in the next few turns. I'm not sure we could survive Fire Blast from Blaine's last 2 Pokemon at full health. Blaine uses a full heal to wake up Rapidash, which does not help us. Psychic brings Rapidash down to half health, so another Psychic should take it out. Unfortunately, it falls short and we faint soon after. So close. Okay, it's fair to say that a win is a bit out of reach, and I should have expected that considering we are weak to Fire-type moves. I just thought Psychic would carry us further. After grinding for 3 more levels, we reach level 55, and we give this battle another try. The extra levels really help. We stick to the safe strategy of using Sleep Powder, but it wasn't necessary for Growlithe, as we one-shot it with Psychic. We also get another one-shot Psychic on Ponyta. With full health and no burns, this battle is looking promising so far. Rapidash also falls asleep as soon as it comes out, but Blaine immediately wakes it up with a full heal. We still manage to hit it with Psychic, bringing it down to yellow health. Another Psychic finishes it off. Now we face Arcanine for the first time in this challenge, and hopefully the last. I can't believe it, we're actually faster than it. Sleep Powder lands, and now we see how Psychic performs against Arcanine. It does well, but it's still standing in green health, which is a bit concerning. It might take 3 turns to take it down. We decide to play it differently this time. We use Silver Wind to chip away at its health. It barely does anything. Getting an all-around stat boost from Silver Wind would be clutch right now. Unfortunately, once we get Arcanine down to half health, it wakes up and hits Keyfly with a Fire Blast. I'm genuinely surprised we're still standing with 55 health. Perhaps that's thanks to the stat boost we just got? Anyway, we use another Psychic and finally knock Arcanine out, securing our victory against Blaine. Giovanni should be easier to beat than Blaine. First up is Rhyhorn, which we easily one-shot with Psychic. The second Rhyhorn is stronger and it can withstand a Psychic from us, but it suffers a special defense drop, which is nice. Fortunately, its Scary Face misses. We decide to stick with Silver Wind for the knockout, trying to conserve our Psychic power points. Giovanni, of course, heals up. When will I ever learn? And Silver Wind actually does a little more damage than I expected, but the Rhyhorn is still standing in the green. It's okay though, because another Psychic easily takes it out. Next is Dugtrio, which doesn't have the best defense, so it should be relatively easy to handle. We start with Silver Wind, though I can't really remember why. It almost takes Dugtrio out, and it now responds with a slash that doesn't do much damage. I then use Poison Powder, likely to save on Psychic power points, even though Giovanni only has 2 Pokemon left after Dugtrio, and we have 8 Psychics available. We take another slash, heal a bit, and Dugtrio nearly faints, but Giovanni heals it up. I go ahead and use Psychic to finish Dugtrio off. The rest of Giovanni's team consists of Nidoqueen and Nidoking, both of which fall easily to one-shot Psychics since they are part poison. Nice first try victory, and now we have all the gym badges. Next up is the Elite Four, but first we need to face our rival, who's blocking our path. We start with Pidgeot, and just like in most of these battles, we use our Sleep Powder Psychic combo. Psychic does pretty well, nearly taking Pidgeot down to half health. Another Psychic brings it into the red, and surprisingly our rival doesn't heal Pidgeot, allowing us to take it down. Next is Rhyhorn, which goes down to another Psychic. Now we have to deal with the big gun, Charizard. It is faster than us and immediately opens up with a Flamethrower, leaving us in a dicey situation with only 9 health remaining. Fortunately, Sleep Powder lands, putting Charizard to sleep. This gives us a chance to heal with leftovers while Charizard is out. We need to take Charizard out while it's asleep, as we can't afford to take another hit. Currently, leftovers heals us for about 10 HP per turn. Psychic, unfortunately, is a little lackluster this time, only taking out about a quarter of Charizard's health. However, we get lucky with the next Psychic being a critical hit, which almost takes Charizard out and lowers its special defense. Our rival doesn't wake it up or heal it, so another Psychic takes Charizard out. We can breathe a little easier now, but not too much, as we only have 39 health, and there are still Pokemon that can knock us out quickly. Next is Execute, which we can easily take down with Silver Wind. We're now at level 58, and next up is Alakazam. Oh, it's faster than us, it's just with Psychic, and not strong enough to take us down. We give the rival battle a couple more attempts, but we consistently end up going down, most likely from Charizard. It seems we need to do more grinding. This time we grind all the way to level 60 and we see how we fare. For Pidgeot, it's the same old strategy. We put it to sleep and we use Psychic. I feel like a broken record saying that, but it's been our game plan throughout this challenge. Rhyhorn is still easy to take down with Psychic, so we're back to facing Charizard. It's still faster than us, and Flamethrower hits hard, leaving us with only 31 health after the hit. Fortunately, we managed to put Charizard to sleep with Sleep Powder. Psychic hits a little harder than it did at level 57, but I'm still unsure if this grinding is enough for a win. We do manage to take Charizard down while it remains asleep. Next up is Execute, and we stick with Silver Wind, which is a one-shot, just like before. Now it's time for Alakazam. Hopefully we'll be faster this time, but nope, it's still faster than us. He uses Calm Mind, which won't help against our Silver Wind, so we easily knock it out. Gyarados lowers our attack, which is concerning, but we stick with Psychic, and we're back to green health thanks to leftovers. We put it to sleep to heal up some more, and thankfully the first Psychic hits it hard, taking it to half health. And from there the next Psychic is a critical hit, allowing us to finally get past our rival battle. As we make our way through Victory Road, let's discuss our plan for the Elite Four and our rival. I'm not thrilled with our current moveset. We only have 2 attacking moves, both are low on power points. Silver Wind does 60 damage, but it only has 5 power points, and Psychic we have up to 12. I prefer to have more power points for Psychic. We also have 2 status condition powders, but I think we should only keep 1 since another attacking move would benefit us greatly. To prepare, we battle as many trainers as possible because I'm not confident at our current level. I'm pretty sure Lorelei will demolish us, and Lance is intimidating too. My goal is to reach level 70 before facing the Elite Four. After some grinding, we finally reached that level, and things look promising. Here are our stats. Attack is still in the double digits, which might be a problem since we have 2 attacking moves now. We're keeping Silverwind but added Aerial Ace by replacing Poison Powder. We benefit from being able to put our opponents to sleep, allowing us to heal with leftovers. Defense is now in the triple digits, still low, but decent enough to withstand some hits. Special attack and special defense are pretty solid. Speed is pretty good as well. Despite the low attack stat, things are looking up. We'll likely stick with the Sleep Powder Psychic combo for many of these battles, but Aerial Ace is a good addition. It's a reliable stab move that cannot miss and has 20 power points, allowing us to conserve Psychic's uses. I'm not expecting an easy victory at this point. Lorelei is still very much a concern, but I'm not worried about Bruno or Agatha since Psychic does well against fighting and poison types. As for Lance, it's always a toss-up. He doesn't have many moves that could take us down quickly, except maybe Wing Attack. The first battle we have to deal with is Lorelei, so let's get started. First up is Dugong, and we're eager to see how well Psychic performs right out of the gate. Unfortunately, it's a bit lackluster due to the fact that it does not even take Dugong down to half health, but we take an Ice Beam hit that brings us close to half health, so we are still in the green. Since Psychic isn't hitting hard enough, we switch to Sleep Powder to stall for some healing. Just when we hope for some recuperation, Dugong goes down to a critical hit with Psychic. Actually, I'll take that. Next is Slowbro, which is part Psychic, so we expect to do well with Silverwind. However, it only does half damage. Slowbro responds with Amnesia, which doesn't help against Silverwind. The next Silverwind fails to knock it out, leading to another Ice Beam hit. Lorelei heals Slowbro, but our Aerial Ace doesn't do that much either. Luckily, the next Silverwind finally brings Slowbro down, though it took longer than anticipated. Now we face Jinx, which is also part Psychic, but less tanky. Finally, we get the one-shot we've been hoping for this whole battle. Now it's time for Lapras, the big threat on Lorelei's team. We're faster and successfully land Sleep Powder. Unfortunately, Psychic only takes out about a quarter of Lapras' health due to its solid special defense. We don't have enough time to finish it off as it wakes up next turn and hits us with an Ice Beam, knocking us out. We give this battle another go and it plays out the same. We start by putting Lapras to sleep, hitting it with Psychic, but it wakes up next turn. This time, it doesn't knock Geefly out with Ice Beam, but uses Confuse Ray instead, which stalls us significantly. We try to deal some damage, but with poor luck on Confusion and Sleep, we eventually go down. Okay, it's the third try against Lorelei. We start by putting Dugong to sleep, and we use Psychic, which brings it to half health. I switch to Aerial Ace to deal some damage, ensuring that our next Psychic will knock Dugong out before Lorelei can heal it. Dugong wakes up and uses Safeguard, which could be troublesome later on, but fortunately another Psychic takes it out. I then make a stupid mistake when Slowbro comes out by using Sleep Powder on a Pokemon protected by Safeguard. I was just talking about that too. Aerial Ace does a little damage, but Slowbro uses Amnesia. We bring Slowbro down to yellow health and it hits us with an Ice Beam, which deals a good chunk of damage. However, Slowbro soon goes down from another Silverwind. The silver lining here is that Lorelei's Safeguard has now lifted, allowing us to use Sleep Powder again. Next is Jinx, which is taken out in one shot by Silverwind. The dreaded Lapras follows. For the third battle in a row, we put it to sleep, land one Psychic, and then it wakes up. Lapras responds with Confuse Ray, just like last time. Fortunately, we manage to get Lapras back to sleep, and another Psychic brings it down to yellow health. Of course, Lapras' Citrus Berry heals it back up to half health, and then we hurt ourselves in Confusion. Luckily, we just healed to full health, so it's not too much of a blow. Even better, Lapras is still asleep when we snap out of Confusion. Now we switch to Aerial Ace to deal a bit more damage. Lapras wakes up again, and its Ice Beam hits us, bringing us back to half health. Oh no, and now we're also frozen. This could be the end of the battle right here. We need some serious luck on our side if we want to pull off the win. While we're frozen, we get hit by another Confuse Ray, putting us in a really tight spot. The good thing is, we're healed up to green health from leftovers, but that does not mean we can take much damage from Ice Beam. Fortunately, we get lucky and defrost a few turns later. Despite being confused, we land another Psychic. I was really hoping it would be a one-shot, but no. Lapras is still standing with what has to be 1 health and hits us with another Ice Beam. At least Leftovers gets us back to yellow health. However, Lapras gets better treatment with a full restore. I don't know if we can win here, especially after we fall back into red health from hitting ourselves in confusion. Finally, we snap out of confusion and get Lapras back to sleep. We go with Psychic again, and finally, we bring Lapras down. But I forgot Cloyster was still around. It has a very strong defense, but not the best special defense, so maybe Psychic will take it out? It doesn't. Cloyster is still standing in red health, but all it does is lay spikes. And look, another full restore. Aerial Ace hardly does anything, but hopefully that puts Cloyster in damage range to go down for Psychic. Unless it uses Protect. Can we just wrap up this battle, please? Finally, Psychic lands and Cloyster faints. We finally get to move past Lorelei. Honestly, beating Lorelei in 3 attempts isn't bad given our setup. I didn't expect a first try win, but hey, at least we didn't have to grind. Bruno shouldn't be that bad. First out is Onyx, and Psychic lands as a one-shot, but we need to be conscious on how we're using Psychic because of its power points. At least Aerial Ace is stab and super effective against fighting types. That being said, Aerial Ace does not one-shot Hitmonchan, and I completely forgot that Bruno's Hitmonchan has Rock Tomb. It does deal a lot of damage of course, and we get a speed drop tacked on. Hitmonchan is faster than us and hits us with a Sky Uppercut? I'm kinda surprised it stuck with that move considering that we resist it and Rock Tomb exists. Anyway, Aerial Ace knocks out Hitmonchan, so we have that going for us. From there, Bruno sends out his champ, which is Machamp. We play it safe by starting with Sleep Powder. Aerial Ace takes Machamp to half health, which is more than I expected. Unfortunately, Machamp wakes up soon and one-shots us with Rock Tomb. Okay, I kind of did not see that coming. We're going to have to play a little safer here by putting these Pokemon to sleep instead of just flat out attacking them. Back to dealing with the first Onyx, which means we're using Psychic again. This time, however, it is not a one-shot. It has to have 1 health left from that move. The good news is it suffers a special defense drop, so the next Psychic should probably take it out. Rock Tomb hits pretty hard, but we're still in the green. The speed drop, though, is not appreciated. I do use Aerial Ace here, which might have been a stupid move since Bruno will likely heal up, but I'm trying to conserve my Psychic power points. That said, with Onyx at almost full health, we don't have another move we can really use to take this guy out quickly, so we have to use Psychic here. Oh, and now it's a critical hit. We could have really used that in the last turn. Okay, now we have to fight Hitmonchan. We're slower now, so it will attack first. It uses Mach Punch, and again, I'm surprised it's not Rock Tomb. Luckily, we managed to put it to sleep, which helps us a lot. Hitmonchan falls into yellow health, and another one of those will knock it out. We stick with Sleep Powder as Machamp shows up. We really don't want to get hit by another Rock Tomb and suffer a speed drop. Fortunately, Machamp stays asleep and we take it out with 2 Aerial Aces. Hitmonlee is up next. It hits us with a Mega Kick, which would be scary in other situations, but here it's not scary at all. And we put it to sleep just like we have with the other members of Bruno's team. We stick with Aerial Ace, which means Hitmonlee goes down in 1 shot. All we have left now is the second Onyx, and I'm really surprised this thing is faster than us. Double Edge does deal some damage, but it's not a lot, so I'm not too scared about that. Psychic isn't a one-shot, but deals a good amount of damage. Bruno heals Onyx up, but another Psychic from us takes Onyx back down to low health. We get hit by Double Edge, and we make a mistake by trying to take Onyx out with an Aerial Ace that falls short. It has to have 1 health left. Onyx's Double Edge lands a critical hit, which is scary, but we follow up with 1 more Aerial Ace to take it out. There we go, we beat Bruno. Up next is Agatha, and I use Ether to restore my Psychic power points because that's basically the move that will secure our victory here. She might be a Ghost type trainer, but her whole team is poisoned to some degree. The first Gengar is out, and I forgot to heal up before entering the battle. That's not good. Hopefully Leftovers can help make up for some of that. It's also a good thing that we're faster than Gengar. Psychic deals a one-shot. We are faster than Golbat as well, taking it out in 1 shot. Arbok goes down from another Psychic. This is starting to sound a bit repetitive, don't you think? Now we're back in green health thanks to Leftovers, so things are looking great. But then we hit a brick wall. The second Gengar is out now, and it is faster than us. That means we're put to sleep by its hypnosis, and I'm really hoping we wake up soon, but for now, we get hit by a Nightmare. We also take some damage from a Sludge Bomb, which is bad news for us since we are weak to poison type moves. This battle should have been an easy win, but instead, we end up going down here. Okay, that was just bad hypnosis luck. Maybe if the second Gengar misses its hypnosis, we can secure a win here. So let's give it another go. The first Gengar and Golbat both go down to one Psychic. Arbok survives Psychic with just a sliver of health remaining. Its next attack misses, but Agatha heals it up before we can take it out. Next Psychic also brings Arbok down to just a sliver. I'm really bummed that it survived that. The good news is that Aerial Ace from us takes it out. Okay, now we're back to our rematch against the second Gengar. It uses Hypnosis and it doesn't miss, so here we go again. Gengar follows up with a Sludge Bomb and we start taking damage. If we could just wake up and use Sleep Powder, we really need to put this thing to sleep so we can attack. Basically, Gengar is stealing our strategy. Here comes the Nightmare too. It's a good thing we have leftovers as they counteract some of this damage. We take another Sludge Bomb hit, and when we do wake up, Sleep Powder misses. Of course it does. The good news is that Gengar's Hypnosis misses, giving us another chance to use Sleep Powder. This one actually lands, and now Gengar is the one that's asleep. I use Aerial Ace to conserve on power points, and it's actually doing really well, landing a critical hit and taking Gengar to orange health. Gengar heals up from its Citrus Berry, but that's not enough to take it back to the green. We should be able to take it out in the next turn. Gengar is still asleep, so we use another Aerial Ace. It doesn't take it out, but it's still in the yellow, so I don't think Agatha is going to heal it. Oh, never mind, there's the full restore. We stick with Aerial Ace, but it doesn't do much. We need some good luck here. Gengar's Hypnosis lands, so we're back to being asleep. We get hit by Sludge Bomb, but then we wake up. Psychic lands as a critical hit and takes Gengar out. All we have left now is Haunter, but obviously this thing is slower and can't handle Psychic as well as Gengar, so we wrap up our battle with Agatha rather easily. Lance is going to be kind of scary because, as I mentioned, his team is tough. While he doesn't have a type advantage against us, we don't really have advantage against any of them either. First out for Lance is Gyarados, which means we will have a lowered attack stat for the remainder of the battle because of its Intimidate ability. We gotta be smart about how we handle this guy, so we put him to sleep. Here's hoping Psychic actually does a decent chunk of damage. It only deals about a third of its health and damage. We use an Aerial Ace because I feel like we're going to get Gyarados into red health soon enough, which means Lance will most likely heal it up. We stick with another Aerial Ace, and Gyarados is still in yellow health, so I think we're in a good spot here. And yep, Psychic lands a critical hit and knocks it out. We're looking pretty good here at the start, and we level up to level 72, so there's more of a stat boost. Okay, now Lance is scared enough to send out Dragonite next. I'm actually surprised we're faster than this guy. Same plan as before, Dragonite is now asleep, and I know we're going to have a tough battle ahead of us because Psychic is a great move, but it's still not going to make this battle a cakewalk. I did try out Silver One first, just to see if it would do anything. Yikes, that's bad. I forgot Dragonite is a flying type, and that means it would resist bug moves. That was really stupid on my part, but at least we have the answer to that now. Dragonite wakes up right away and hits us with a wing attack, putting us in a dangerous spot. We're in orange health by the time we put it back to sleep with Sleep Powder. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more from Psychic, but it's not terrible. A couple more Psychics bring Dragonite to orange health, but then it wakes up, hits us with another wing attack, and takes us out. Okay, Dragonite is going to be a problem. Noted. We give this battle another try. We take down Gyarados just like we did last time, and we level up to 72, just like before. We're back up against Dragonite again. We put it to sleep with Sleep Powder, and we're not going to test Silverwind anymore. We have to hit this thing fast with Psychic. Of course, Dragonite wakes up after we hit it with one Psychic, and it hits us with a wing attack, bringing us down to 74 health. We put it back to sleep with Sleep Powder and get Dragonite down to yellow health with Psychic. Its Citrus Berry heals it back up to the green, the Psychic brings it down to yellow. We switch to Aerial Ace from here because we need to save on power points, but it doesn't matter because Dragonite wakes up soon after and takes Key Fly out with another wing attack. On the third attempt, we take down Gyarados just like last time. The only reason I'm talking about this is because this was the first attempt where we actually were successful in taking down Dragonite. We put to sleep and use Psychic, again it wakes up after one Psychic, hits us with a wing attack. It has done that in every attempt we've had so far. We scramble to put Dragonite back to sleep, and then use Psychic, and this time we actually take it down. It's such a relief, and I thought the rest of Lance's team should be easy to deal with. Or so I thought, because after Dragonite comes Aerodactyl. It's faster than us, and Ancient Power easily one-shots us. So there's really no other way to go about it. We need to grind more. And with that, it's not just about grinding. I also went around the map and collected more ethers and elixirs since I've noticed we don't have a lot of power point replenishing items. I need to heal these moves up in between battles. I also found another power point up, so we now have more uses of Sidekick. We're now at level 81 against Lance, and Gyarados is really easy to deal with. We put it to sleep and Sidekick hits harder here. Gyarados wakes up after 2 Sidekicks, bites Keyfly, and heals up from a full restore. We use Aerial Ace to lower Gyarados' health a little so we can hit it hard before it has another chance to heal. But then, out of nowhere, Lance returns Gyarados and sends out Aerodactyl. Since that counts as Lance's move for that turn, we immediately put Aerodactyl to sleep with Sleep Powder. Sidekick hits really hard and Aerodactyl goes down easily. Dragonite, which is another big threat in this battle, is next. Back to putting it to sleep and spamming Sidekick. It's doing really well, but I want to lower Dragonite's health a little bit so it doesn't heal, hence the Aerial Ace. Oh, I can take that critical hit. The first Dragonair is now up, not much to say here. Sleep Powder, Sidekick, and Aerial Ace take it down. Oh yay, Gyarados is back, but we have to put it back to sleep, and several Sidekicks this time actually knock it out for good. The second Dragonair is all that's left. We repeat this process like we did with the first one, but this one is still hanging on by a thread. Lance uses a full restore to heal it up. We are out of power points for Sidekick, so it's all about Sleep Powder and Aerial Ace from here. Dragonair wakes up and hits us with Dragon Rage, but besides that, we eventually get Dragonair down, and we finally beat Lance. Not much to say when it comes to this final rival battle. We just have to heal up and jump in and see how it goes. First out is Pidgeot, which means Sleep Powder and Psychic spamming. We take it out in 2 attacks. I was expecting Charizard, but instead we get Rhydon. Psychic only takes it to yellow health, but it also brings a special defense drop. Another Psychic takes it out. Now we have to deal with Charizard, and I'm very happy to find out that we're faster than it, which means we can put it to sleep right away. Now we just have to make sure it stays asleep while we spam Psychic. Of course, it wakes up after our first Psychic. Fire Blast brings us down to 53 health, which is bad, but I was expecting single digits, if we even survived that at all. So that's better than I was anticipating. We then put Charizard to sleep right away with another Sleep Powder, which allows us to heal a bit from leftovers. Our next Sidekick takes Charizard to yellow health, but it heals some from a berry. Another Sidekick brings Charizard to just a sliver, and it's still asleep. I use an Aerial Ace on the off chance our rival doesn't heal this turn, but of course he does. We move first and get Charizard back to sleep, whittling its health into the red with Aerial Ace. However, our rival heals up before we can land the knockout. Fortunately, we get Sleep Powder to land again, so Charizard is back asleep. This whole time we've done so much healing with leftovers, it's great. We don't have many Psychic power points left, but I used one here, bringing Charizard back to yellow health. We really need to find a way to take this guy out so we can move on to the rest of the battle. Aerial Ace takes him down to sliver again, and our rival doesn't heal Charizard, so we use one more Aerial Ace, and Charizard is now officially down. Alakazam is next, and I'm worried this guy could potentially be faster than us. He is, and he sets up Reflect, which means our Silver Wind that we're attacking with does not one-shot him. He then hits us with Sidekick, which actually does less damage than I was expecting. That's good. Another Silver Wind takes Alakazam out. Next is Executor, and this is another example where if we didn't have Reflect, one Silver Wind would probably have knocked this guy out. But since that's still in effect, the Silver Wind falls short. The best part of this little segment of the battle is Executor's Sleep Powder misses, giving us the opportunity to knock it out quickly on the next turn. Now, the last Pokemon we have to face in this whole challenge is our rival's Gyarados, and this thing is a major pain. We put it to sleep with Sleep Powder, and the good news is the Reflect wore off. Bad news is we are very low on power points. We put it to sleep, and Sidekick probably takes out about a third of its health and damage. It wakes up and it hits us with a Thrash, but we're still doing okay. We then get it to fall back to sleep with another Sleep Powder. We stick with Sidekick, even though we're probably going to run out of that move very soon. The next hit connects pretty hard, and then we switch over to Aerial Ace. Gyarados wakes up and hits us with a Dragon Rage. At this point, I thought this battle was almost over, considering Gyarados is in red health, and I figured our rival used up all of his healing items. But I was wrong. He uses a full restore on Gyarados, bringing it back to full health. We're getting dangerously low on power points, but we still have to be smart about this, so we stick with Sleep Powder again. We use Aerial Ace for offense and also try Silver Wind, even though I know it won't do anything. I was hoping for an all-around stat boost, but that does not happen. Eventually, Gyarados wakes up again and hits us with another Dragon Rage. but we've healed up quite a bit since its last attack, so we're still doing pretty well. We keep trying to put Gyarados to sleep while picking at its health. We get it low again, but it wakes up and hits us with another Dragon Rage. If you think this sounds like deja vu, it's because it is. I again thought this was going to be it for the battle, but our rival surprises us by using another full restore. I'm thinking this has to be the last one. Aerial Ace does a little bit more damage, but we might be at the point now where we're going to have to struggle, literally, because we are almost out of power points at this point. We stay on the offensive as best as we can while putting Gyarados to sleep when it wakes up. The last attack we use is Sleep Powder, which was part of my plan. We can attack with struggle without being interrupted, and Leftovers also helps here by negating some of the recoil. The first struggle is a critical hit, which is extremely clutch. Gyarados wakes up the next turn and hits us with a Dragon Rage. Losing 40 HP per turn plus struggle recoil can be dangerous. From there, we do one more struggle and finally win this rival battle, and the whole challenge. We are now Pokemon champions. For the most part, things went better than I expected in this challenge. I know we had to grind Butterfree up to a high level to beat the game, but I was already expecting that. I thought we might have to be in the 90s or higher to really win this challenge, so being in the 80s isn't too bad. Butterfree stats might not be amazing, but I think the one thing holding this Pokemon back is its TM list. I feel like it should be eligible to learn a few more moves that could give it the edge in being considered a part of your party long term. But then again, I always felt like Butterfree was designed to be part of your early team, not really your endgame team. I really hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. Stay tuned for my next challenge where I'll see if you can beat Pokemon Fire Red with a Ghastly. It should be interesting given its type combo and stats. In the meantime, check out some of my other challenges. Don't forget to like and subscribe for updates, and leave comments about what you enjoyed, what challenges you'd like to see in the future, and any suggestions you have for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, Geronimo.